Well, hello. Welcome back to another exciting edition of Coffee with Steven. So, this week's blog is entitled 30605A. Now, that is a reference to the California Penal Code as it specifically relates to assault weapons. Over this last week, it was really interesting. I ended up getting a phone call from a couple of attorneys that work for Michel and Associates. Many of you that are in the gun rights community absolutely know who Michel and Associates is. Chuck Michel is the senior partner of the firm, and they are the NRA's basic primary counsel here in the 11 western states. In fact, most of the appellate work that is generated through the offices of Michel and Associates. So when the phone call came in, I thought, well, this is interesting. I wonder why they're calling me. Well, it turns out they had a case that was being litigated. Actually, it was a preliminary hearing that was taking place in Los Angeles last week of a gun parts manufacturer. The guy is not an FFL. He makes component parts for AR-15s and sells these things at gun shows. Anyways, without going into a tremendous level of detail, he had inadvertently come into possession of a specifically enumerated assault rifle. This took place at one of the gun shows. He realized this when he got back to his shop, broke the weapon system down into its component parts to make it California compliant, subsequently had an interaction with law enforcement where they discovered the disassembled HK-93 and promptly arrested him for possession of a per se assault rifle. Anyways, Michel and Associates wanted me to be an expert witness to help educate the judge as to the different levels of analysis that are required before one can make a determination as to whether or not something is an assault weapon. In this particular case, since he had disassembled the weapon system, by definition, it was no longer a semi-automatic firearm. The first level of analysis is to determine whether or not it is a semi-automatic firearm. Since the answer to that question is no, the continuation of the analysis ceases. There's no more. We're done. If the answer to the question had been yes, assuming that it wasn't in a disassembled state, then since it was specifically enumerated as an HK-93, he would have been guilty of felony possession. We ended up not having the opportunity to argue this position in front of a judge. Instead, we ended up getting a hold of the opposing side, the prosecution's expert witness, who was the detective of the LAPD gun unit that made the determination to arrest this guy. He read our brief, he read my report, and effectively said, wow, you know what? You guys are right. So we effectively turned that witness. He then went to the DA, essentially said, look, I'm going to effectively argue their position, and the DA made the decision to dismiss this case against the defendant. So, we were vindicated, but it was kind of exciting to be called upon by Michel and Associates and provide this testimony. In any event, read the blog. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to email me at steven@artemishq.com. Remember, train constantly, train consistently, train repetitively, train with purpose. And above all else, stay vigilant. Until next week, we have coffee again. Thank you.